Hey peeps, welcome to NasTime Adventures. Today we're going to take one last look at this off-road camper trailer. This is a rooftop tent camper trailer I built quite a few years ago. It's been an absolute pleasure on all my trips, but I'm getting to that stage where I just want to make life a little bit easier. I'm going to convert this from a rooftop tent trailer to a pod trailer, but before I do, I want to take you through and show you what I've done and explain a little bit about why this has been such a good trailer for me over the last few years. Now, this trailer was originally set up as a soft floor camper. As you can see, I've topped it with a checker plate to fully enclose the top. I separated the storage underneath, and I've added a couple of hatches here to make access to the front a lot easier. Access to the back just goes in through the tailgate, which is actually the kitchen as well. Moving forward, plan is to take off the checker plate, redo the frame on the top and fully enclose it into a pod trailer. I'll be entering from the back, there'll be a door there, and I can just pop in and go to bed. A hell of a lot easier than rooftop tents. Now, rooftop tent has been absolutely amazing, and it's really changed the way I camp over the last few years. I've really enjoyed it, but I've gotten to the stage in my life now where I prefer not to be climbing ladders, and it's going to make life a lot easier just to be able to open the door out the back and pop in. It literally goes from 30 seconds to 0, and that's what I'm looking for in camping. Seriously, the best camp trips are the ones where you can set up and pack up really quickly. Now, really important with any off-road trailer is an off-road coupling. You need a quality coupling like the DO35. It's been an absolute pleasure, really safe to tow with, really practical, and it's absolutely a blessing to load on and off each time. It lines up really easily, and of course with the XO750 jockey wheel, it's just a perfect partner. Makes life really easy, especially if you've got to make some little modifications. I'm on my own a lot, really hard to line it up with the camera, especially when your camera's offline a little bit, off center. So for me, it's actually been really good little tweaks with the twin wheels on the jockey wheel. It means on sand, dirt, anything, it's just really practical and easy to move. Also at the front here, I've got the 23-0 dirty gear bag. I use that predominantly for cans and bottles and that sort of stuff. As you can see, it's in really good condition. I've given this an absolute beating. I've done thousands of kilometers on dirt tracks, corrugated tracks, and lots of rocks flicking up, and it's held up really well. So I'll definitely be holding on to that one. Now, speaking of rocks, for anyone that plans to go off-road, I definitely recommend some protection for the front, so some mud guards. I've got the rock tamers from Clearview. They've been fantastic. I chose those over the Stone Stomper, which is the other real popular one. Main reason being, it gives me good access to the back without having to unhook things, especially for the dog getting in and out. And I've got my fridge in the back, so I need regular access. So that's been an absolute pleasure. You can see I have taken it off-road without the rock tamer. It's done a little bit of damage to the guard there for the rocks. Obviously rocks going through, so I'll be cleaning that up as part of the build as well. Storage in the front, this box is an absolute killer. I've had so many comments on the road about the size of the storage, and it's one of the major reasons I've decided to hold on to this trailer and modify it instead of buying a new one. It's an absolute killer, guys. As you can see, lots of storage. I've got all my dirty gear in here, and things like the dog's tent, buckets, chairs, that sort of stuff. It's been really good, guys. It's also got on the side here a pole carrier, so entry from the side here, and it goes the full length just about, and it allows you to carry some poles. I've got my broom in there and that sort of stuff, fishing rods, whatever you need. Now, it does also have good storage for jerry cans and gas bottles. Really important for me, I always like the ability to carry 2 9-kilogram bottles. I only use one for a gas bottle, but I've got, as you can see there, a bin on the other side. That's just a bucket that I had for my canoe for carrying water, and I've decided to use that as a bin. Cap screws on, little tip, grab some wire or something there, attach it so you don't lose the lid, because sometimes you do forget to tighten it. But really handy, guys, and that way I've got the recycles and the rubbish kept separate. I do also have under storage water tank. There is an 80-litre tank. I'll convert that in gallons for the US folk. That's been more than enough for me for most of my travels. I do also carry 40 litres in the car as well. I've got the Pack Off-Road tub tank, And it's actually been handy on this trip because I discovered a bit of a leak, so I can't get the full 80 litres in there, but I will repair that as I do my future modifications. But definitely handy to have water under the tank. And this actually has two outlets, a water outlet on the side with a pump, and there's one in the back, which forms part of the kitchen. Really handy. And there is access to fill it up here on the side as well. Always carry water grade hose in your trailer when you're traveling, because you never know when you're going to need to top it up. Another important thing here is the stabilizers at the back. These ones have been really good. They flip down really easy, and they've got those cups that automatically line up at the bottom. You can fill them up with water, stop any ants from traveling up your rooftop tent if you need to. I do also have some power outlets at the back as well. Really handy to have. Now, something I really enjoy about this setup is the storage that it offers. As you can see, I can carry a few bags of wood up there. Whenever you're traveling in the outback or national parks, those sort of locations, you're going to be limited with wood. Now, I always try to carry a bit of extra wood, so I'm not relying on what I can find. And I've had about 9 bags on there, and it's been an absolute bliss, especially when you're on a 2-week trip, knowing that you're not going to be able to find wood. Now, I do also have shore power connected, of course, so when I'm in between those rural trips, I can pull up at a caravan park, top up the battery and that sort of stuff. I can also charge it through solar, and generally I've got an Anderson plug that goes to my car that charges while I'm driving as well. So power is generally not a problem. I do have 100 amps in this and AGM battery, but I will be upgrading to lithium battery because I've got the amp pack battery that I took out of the car, and it's going to fit quite nicely in here. It is all wired up for the water pump, power to the rooftop tent, and lights, of course. Speaking of lights, I've actually got some rock lights set up around, and they've been really handy. Quite enough lights. Sometimes you do kind of need a little bit brighter, but for the most part, it's been really good. Now, as part of the build, I will be adding some lights onto the side, and I'll probably be moving those rock lights underneath where they technically belong. Underneath also, I do have some wire runging. That just helps me, you know, hang up some clothes, dirty towels, tea towels, that sort of stuff, if I want them to dry. Now, underneath, it is set up with off-road suspension with leaf springs and shockers. Now, it is a single axle. Ideally, you'd have independent suspension. That would be really handy. Something I may look at in the future, just depends on what the cost is as well. So my overall cost for this future build is about 6K. Now, I'm planning on taking the rooftop tent off. I will modify that frame and will fully enclose that to become a pod trailer. The beauty of this camper is it sets up quite quickly. So overall, I can have this camper set up with the awning in about 5 minutes. It takes about 30 seconds or so for the rooftop tent, and probably takes a few minutes for the awning. This is the 23-0 Falcon awning. It actually comes out to the front and to the rear. The difference with the Osprey, which is the one I have on the car, is the way it sits around the back. This one has a little bit more of a point, whereas the Osprey doesn't have that section at the front, but offers you a little bit more coverage at the back, which suits me in the car. But for the camper, I'd rather have a bit extra on the side. Now, 23-0 rooftop tent at the top, that's been an absolute blessing. That is the Sabre. This is the original tent that I wanted. There's a bit of a long story behind it. You can go back over my channel if you want to have a look at that. But essentially, this was the original rooftop tent I wanted, and I've been really happy with it. Only downfall, I reckon, is it's really dark inside, and every time I try to get up early, I find out it's about 9 o'clock, so which is a little bit late for me. So but other than that, you know, I don't get much condensation inside. I've got a little bit of a plan where I have the windows open. It does have a vent at the top as well, but it's actually been really good. Now, for the bedding, I always bring a nice comfy pillow. Unfortunately though, this thing doesn't compress too well, which is kind of why I like it, but it means that I can't store it up here. It has to go underneath. I do have a canvas bag for it. I have got both 23-0 blankets, and you know what? They've been fantastic. The top one is down. It's about 700 or so. I do have an old woolen blanket that was donated to me by my wife, and I've also got the flannel one. Now, to be honest, I got them both because I wasn't sure which one I would actually use more, but I do like the flannel feel. The down, I tell you what, the other day we got down to below 0, and that on top made a big difference, but otherwise it can get a little bit hot. The woolen blanket underneath, of course, actually adds a little extra layer, but for the most part I could handle the woolen blanket and the flannel, and I'm pretty happy. But this thing packs so light, it's really nice to carry, and you know, gives you an extra option. You can see here the kitchen set up at the back. Pretty basic really. This is going to be going as part of the new build because I will have access through the back here as well, so I'll find a way to actually store my kitchen and all my pantry on the side, a little bit more storage on the other side. Stay tuned for that, it's going to be a big build. Now this does have a 4-burner stove. Now to be honest, I don't use that a hell of a lot. Reason being is because the gas boil's on the side, it's a bit awkward to get to, so I've got my little gas stove that I just pull out of the box out the front, and it does me quite nicely. Obviously when I've got the family here, there's a few more of us, and I'm camped up for a few more days or weeks, I will set the stove and the full kitchen up properly. Underneath here as well, for storage, I do have a Titan drawer that just slides in and out for quick easy access, and there's plenty of room there for my barbecue, some other kitchen stuff, pantry and that sort of stuff. So again, I will have to find new places to store all that stuff. Another important thing when we're talking off-road camper trailers is a recovery hitch. Absolutely important if you do get stuck and you need someone to pull you back from behind, is having a safe and secure point to attach to. Now of course, if you are going to go off-road, clearance is another big one. Making sure that your trailer has at least the equivalent clearance to your car, especially if you're going to go up some tough beaten tracks. Now we can't forget the tyres. These aren't the highest grade tyres available. This is what came with the camper. I'll probably look at upgrading them at some point, but they are light truck tyres, which means they have a tougher sidewall and can take a bit of a beating. Really important. Now grip for me is not a critical thing on a camper trailer. What is important is to make sure they are tough and they're going to take a beating. These ones have held up pretty good. I've done a lot of tracks, even a data track, a lot of rocky dirt roads, and they've held up really well. Now of course you can't go anywhere without a change room, especially when you're at public campsites like this. Often I'm out a little bit more remote and a little bit more private, but sometimes you're out in the open and that change room's really handy, either as a toilet or just a change room or shower. And just in case you notice these, been wondering what they are the tie gear setup. I don't have the sand pegs, and to be honest, I didn't think I would need them, but this is the first time for a long time I've actually needed them. So tie gear, they're actually really good. I do have another video on those, and they are the ultimate guy ropes, I guarantee you. Overall, this has been a really good build. I've been absolutely loving this setup. I've just finished a 2-week trip now. I'm in Tokemore on my way home from Queensland, the Legends for Charity event, and it's been an absolute pleasure. But I'm getting old, getting a little bit rusty under the feet, and I want something a little bit more practical, a little bit lower to the ground, hence the new build. So if you want to have a look at that one and keep up to date with what's going on, definitely subscribe, and plenty more videos coming on that one. There you go, peeps. Hope you've enjoyed this video, the very last look at the rooftop tent setup that I have. Next time you see me in front of a camper trailer, good chance it's going to be a pod trailer. See you then.